YouTube, thank y'all for tuning in to another video. So what I have for you guys today is another super satisfying transformation. And what we have here, you can see my client came in super overgrown, real bulky with the hair, right? This haircut is gonna be centered around having a nice textured front. So it's gonna be like a textured fringe in the front. He's gonna have a drop fade that actually converges into a sharp, dark V in the back. So it's gonna be a bit of a custom haircut, and I'm gonna walk you guys through the process on how we put together these steps to get the results that we wanted. So if I know that this haircut is all centered around having nice, choppy, textured bangs, I'm gonna start with that all the way up in the front. I'm not gonna do blunt cuts. I'm actually gonna start off doing quite a bit of point cutting, because it's almost like you want the hair to be perfectly uneven. You want it to be perfectly imperfect when you're doing these types of styles, you know, with this textured bangs. So if we start off with that, then once we determine that length of the bangs that we want, now we can take that length in the front and set our perimeter all the way around the sides. So if you guys are familiar with my style of cutting that we've put together here, it is inspired by the Josh O.P. formula. It's not exactly the formula, this is kind of like my twist on it. But if we set this perimeter to go all the way around, I can basically cut in the top shape first. So since I know it's gonna end in a sharp V in the back, you'll see that I take this, where I'm gripping the hair, I'm taking it and I'm cutting it into the shape of that V in the back, right? So I went ahead and took care of that left side. Now I'm gonna take this right side. Since this is gonna be a skin tight fade, the last video that I dropped, I had the hair, my fingers elevated off of the scalp. But in this case, I actually have it pinched really tight up against his scalp because it is gonna be a much tighter of a blend, if that makes sense, right? Your clippers are gonna be able to blend into hair that is right at finger length a little better from skin, versus if I have it long and elevated. It's gonna feel more disorganized if I'm not cutting it tight. So you can see I already made that V shape in the back. The whole perimeter is cut. Now what we gotta do is we have to determine how long exactly do we want this hair. So the easiest way for me to do this is if I can set a mohawk parting right down the middle. I'm gonna make sure that I have nice clean separations. I'm writing the lines that are created by the comb to make those clean splits. And check this out, I could take that middle part there, elevate it, and at this point now I'm able to determine how long exactly do I want this hair to be. So it's really simple steps. I will do these steps right here pretty much with any haircut style that comes in, whether they want slick back, whether they want textured fringe, side swoop, you know, it really doesn't matter. These steps, I'm able to use some variation of these. It just gives you a plan. It gives you a plan so that way you're not going into the haircut blind and you're just making all sorts of cuts that just really don't make sense. I used to take so long on these scissor haircuts before I actually started cutting with a plan. And that's something that's gonna help you as far as efficiency goes. And you guys know that's something that I'm super big on, is being efficient. You really need to be a barber who is reliable to your clients. These people have places to go, right? They gotta stay on time. Now, that length has been established, I can swoop that length, that mohawk parting, off into the left side or the right side, whatever you prefer. But you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm connecting the short point in the middle that I cut to the short point on the left side here, right? Our visual left side. And you're just connecting the dots. The short point that's on the left is the perimeter that we cut. The short point on the right is the length that we established. So now it's really just a matter of connecting the dots. So you can see I'm gonna go all the way through here, reducing this length, connecting the dots, making sure that everything flows together. And then at that point is where I'll be able to take a section of this hair now that is all trimmed to be nice and even, and swoop it over into the opposite side. And again, we'll be able to repeat the same exact process. Let's brush all this down. We'll take that section off into the opposite side. And then you'll be able to see here as I elevate it, I'll have a short point on one side, I'll have a short point on the other, and now I'll be able to connect the dots and even the rest of this haircut out. So if you've never done anything like this before, it definitely can feel a little bit unorthodox. It can feel a little uncomfortable, but after you give it a good solid shot a few times, honestly, like for me, it just helps me so much to have a plan. Because I swear, I used to just take random cuts of hair, just random chops slicing through the top, and hoping that I would get a good result at the end. I didn't know if it was gonna be even or not. I was just hoping for the best. But taking Josh's class, it definitely helped me out just to be able to kind of come up with, obviously use his formula, but come up with my own version of it, see what works good with me. So now the whole top is done, the sides, the back is done. What we're gonna do now is just prepare a little bit more for the fade. So once I have the hair combed back into place, that's something that you always want to revert to, is continuing to comb the hair into the style that they want it. So if this was a backwards flowing cut, I would have done that. But since his is going to be more of a forward, messy, textured fringe, I brushed it all forward into place. And I'm just doing a little bit of scissor over comb just to make sure that I didn't have any major points that I missed in this haircut. Now, all of the shear work that we've done so far is to better prepare us for this fade portion of the haircut. Now, you could jump straight into debulking with, let's say, a number 4 guard if you wanted to, or whatever guard you're most comfortable with. Like in my case, the number 4 guard flows the best into where my finger length is, right? Barbers with more slim fingers, they may want to go with the number 3. But in this case, if I start off with this clipper over comb, it's gonna help me just kind of taper the hair down to where my clippers are gonna flow super smooth into it. But on top of that, I wanted to use the clipper comb so that way it could pretty much help me get a nice sharp shape towards the back of his haircut. Because if you remember, the whole point of this drop fade is to flow it down into a nice sharp V in the back. Personally, I felt like if I use the clipper comb with just nice sharp teeth, I'm able to get a better shape. You could see that shape right there, it's already coming together. But that was my thought process behind this. Whereas normally, otherwise, I may debulk just straight in with guards if I wanted a nice soft blend all the way around. But that wasn't the goal for this. I needed to make sure that I could define that sharp V in the back of this haircut. Now that that shape has been established, you could see just how nicely that V came together using the clipper comb. That may be something you want to try next time you have a client request a shape like this. But now I'm jumping in with my Stylecraft trimmers. And you can see here, man, if I go ahead and just dig in there, right, and this is how they come set straight out of the box. I was able to define that nice V. Just take your time, make sure that, the reason why I like to cut the top is because I can make sure that the style is pretty much there, the texture is pretty much there. And it also helped me have a better understanding of the shape of his head, which allowed me to sculpt it the way that I did, so that way I can place that sharp V in the back. Years ago, man, I used to put that V first and then try to do the rest of the haircut around it, and then I realized, dang man, I put that V like half an inch to the left, right? So it's just, experience, man. I just want to put you guys on game so you don't make the mistakes that I did. And you can help it, just try to help advance you a little bit, Now, another thing too, when it came to this V, I also used to just start like that bald line from the V. I used to follow that all the way up to the front. I tried something a little bit different this time. I actually took the clipper open on my Stylecraft Instinct X. I started with that, and I basically used a fading down technique, so that way I didn't have too aggressive of a fade on the sides, right? I wanted to fade down, and I could control the gradients, I could control the darkness, so I have more control over how the blend looks towards that sharp V in the back, if that makes sense, right? Like, I didn't want to just start setting guidelines right away. I wanted to have a little bit more control, since this is more of a custom style haircut. But essentially, you can see there, I have my clipper closed and I'm using my corners so that way I could soften that blend as it approaches that sharp V in the back. You gotta remember that there in the back, there is absolutely no blend. That is from straight skin, smooth bald, to a dark, harsh V. How do we kind of control that blend as it approaches that area? Corner work, using that clipper closed, maybe one notch open, right? Just working that area all the way through. So now what we're gonna do, obviously right here, I'm gonna blend out the other side the same exact way that I did. This is gonna give you another angle, another perspective. But if I start open and as I incrementally move lower, I go one notch close, one notch close, one notch closed, I'll have full control over that blend. So this is the fade method pretty much that I'm gonna be sticking with from here forward, right? I take care of that bottom fade. Clipper open, down to bald, done. Now we can fade down. I'm gonna use here starting the number 1.5 guard. And I'm gonna start here with this 1.5 guard being open, and then we're gonna close it, right? We're gonna slowly start fading down. 1.5 open, 1.5 halfway, 1.5 close. If you want, you can do the halfway. When we're done with the 1.5 guard, then we're gonna take it down again to the 1 guard, right? That's the next level lower. So we start open. If you wanna go halfway, you can, then close, right? And then after you're done with the 1.5 guard and you're done with the 1 guard, now what goes in between the 1 and no guard at all is the half guard. And we can do the same thing. We'll start open and then halfway and then closed. And then you just continue incrementally working your way lower and lower. So that way you can get all of these different levels meshed, blended, so they all flow well together. And obviously, you know, don't be afraid. I think the thing is that a lot of times barbers are afraid to take the guard a little bit too high. But you're never gonna get a blurry blend if you don't push the limit, if you don't push that 1 guard up into the 1.5 level, even if it means that you're using a little bit lighter pressure. But you do have to get comfortable meshing and merging these different levels together. They have to overlap. So please don't be afraid to do that. The reason why I have y'all start with the lever open is because it's a little bit safer. It cuts a little less aggressive, right? It leaves the hair just a tiny bit longer, so that way you can have that playroom to you know, push that limit, to bring that half level up into the 1, to bring that 1 level into the 1.5 area. So, and actually, you know, you're gonna see too in these next couple videos, as I become more comfortable with this fading method, I eventually, and what I've been doing this whole last week, this video is from about 3-4 weeks ago. Y'all know I took a little break. I've gotten to the point now where I'm just completely skipping the 1 guard. I'm really just using the 1.5 and jumping straight to the half guard. But that's coming soon though. Definitely rock with this first while you become more comfortable with fading down. Use that 1 guard. But you know, the goal is more and more efficiency. We got to get you guys more efficient so you can take more people with a super satisfactory level of a quality of a haircut to keep them coming back. And that's pretty much how we do it, man. And that's it, man. Like that, all of these things factor together in you becoming a 6-figure barber, right? You need to have a consistent service that keeps your people coming back. And guess what? When they are happy with your service, you're gonna create a word of mouth worthy service. These people are gonna go and look, they're gonna talk about the haircut regardless if it was a good experience or if it was a bad experience. If you have your people just raving about your service, man, they're gonna, well, who cut your hair? Because I want to feel like that about my barber. So it's really an amazing thing, man. Like, and then the reputation that you have will also show in your Google reviews. Every single time you cut somebody's hair, you should be asking them for a Google review. Hey, drop my name in this review. And then you can make a little joke of it. Actually, Jordan is the one who taught me this little tidbit here. If you feel awkward about asking for a review, you can literally make a joke out of it. Be like, hey, leave me a review here. Just make sure that you drop my name in there, whether it's for the credit or the blame. I just need a review with my name in it, right? So, and you know, you can kind of get the vibe if the person was happy with their service and whatnot. So these are all things that just help continue generating more business coming your way. You got to be willing to take those walk-ins, guys. I know sometimes like our egos can get to us and be like, nah, I'm booked. I don't take walk-ins. But the truth is, if you're not willing to take walk-ins, you are choking your business. You are choking it out, because the walk-ins are the bloodline to your business. They're the bloodline to the barbershop. I can't say I don't understand it, because I was that guy for such a long time where I was too proud to take walk-ins. But man, look, I've already taught you guys about ACV, how much money one customer can be worth annually. Are you too good to take that walk-in? Does that mean that you're too good to take $800, $900, $1,000 because you don't know how often they're gonna come, right? So all important factors to our businesses, man. So don't forget, guys, if you want to save a good bit of money on the tools that we used in today's video, the Stylecraft Instinct X, the Stylecraft Metal Trimmer, that's what we punched in that hard line in the back with. Definitely use my discount code Tito Cuts for everything Stylecraft, everything Gamma, and everything on Tomb 45's website. If you need to get clay, powder, just easy stuff for your clients to use to help upsell your service, right? Because that's a whole nother part of annual client value, is selling products and to keep that revenue coming in. So this is what the finished product looked like, guys. I appreciate y'all watching this video with me, and leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think about it. If you have any thoughts, any questions, I'll catch you guys on the next video.